Hey guys, welcome back. Or if it's your first time, hi. I wanted to show you guys how I built a chicken coop out of pallets. So these are not standard pallets. The guy was selling them for I think $3 a piece or $2 a piece. I don't remember how much I paid for these. If they were standard, you would not need 2x4s here, but I actually recommend the 2x4s because look what I used them for. So what I did is I took a 2x4 and I ran it between, by the way, galvanized nails, they're not your friend. They bend so easy. So since then we have gotten a nail gun, but when we didn't have a nail gun, this is how this went. So I don't like galvanized nails. I know that that's what you're supposed to use, but honestly, they bend, they're soft, they're frustrating. So if you don't have a nail gun, get a 2-inch nail, factor in how long that has to go. So you can see that nail there is going through there. Okay, so I put 2x4s between the pallets. And then, I'm getting pecked. Look, meet my chickens. That is Betty. We thought she was a rooster for a while because of the size of her comb. Ow! Leave my toenails alone. That is Louise, Lucy, Sugar, Thelma, Buffy, stop, Cordelia and Willow, and Cookie. So, okay, back to what I was telling you. I did go ahead and run a couple roosting bars across the back. Now this is under a cottonwood tree for shade. They still got hot, so I went ahead and put the shade cloth here that was given to me. And this is fully enclosed. So I ran hardware cloth around the outside, as you can see by the puppy. I ran hardware cloth around the bottom 2 feet, and I did not run it in the ground because this is pretty well centrally located in my yard. It's not near an outside fence where coyotes will come into my yard. So I did not bury it down, and they've done okay. So I've been pretty lucky with that. Had I put it, closer to that pole way back there, yes, I would have buried it because they would have been able to get in here. And I did run regular chicken wire from 2 feet and above. And it's fully enclosed because we have owls that nest in the front tree. There's plenty of predators. They don't need help. So this is pretty well shaded just because, one, it snows here. So it keeps the snow level lower in here so they're not just trapped in the front part. But as you can see, I have 2x4s, nothing bracing. And I wasn't gonna brace it, but this thing was just too flimsy and it wasn't standing on its own. So now it looks like a mine shaft. It's kind of fun. I think it's fun. It's very rustic, and I was joking when I first built this, calling it the chicken shack. So, anyways, triangles are your friends. I've said it before in other videos, but triangles are your friends. And the reason is because it puts less stress on just this one joint. So putting it here, it's screwed here, it's screwed there. I gave up on the nails. I almost lost a fingernail. I got angry and went back to screws. So I prefer screws. Just make sure you're using the right type of screws for outdoor, not indoor. Like you can see everything had worked its way out, and then I went in with a screw right there. So it's fully enclosed. I use hog rings to connect the sheets because we were given a bunch of chicken wire by my father-in-law. So at first I was kind of taking the wire that came with and wrapped around, and I wove it in, and that worked for a while until I realized there had to be a better way. So following down here, I did want to make this long enough to where they weren't just compressed and they were actually having fun and getting exercise because I wanted good eggs. So if I was a chicken, I would want something similar. So I treat things how I want to be treated, I guess. So you can see in this corner, these are also roosting bars. They hardly ever use these ones. They like the ones in the back better. But every once in a while when I'm out there and they want to be nosy and see what I'm doing, they will come up here. I took some 2x6. Oh, and so up here I have 2x4s, and then this one's a ripped 2x6, as well as a couple others because I had some extra 2x6s. Of course, now I'm wishing I would have kept them because I have other projects. But so I ripped some 2x6s down the middle. So some of them are only 2x3s. And then that way is the actual hen house. So this is about, I believe I remember it being like 30 feet this way or 27 feet this way by 24 feet total this way. So, and then here in the corner, I did run a corner brace here, up top, on top. The construction site behind the house, are building a bunch of houses that blew over the fence. We used it for shade last year, and it worked pretty good. So now it's falling apart, and we actually found some of the strips in nesting material for another bird in the yard. These were supposed to be green beds, but the greens didn't establish enough roots, and the chickens ate them, so that didn't last very long. And I put the cross brackets every other bracket. So that one has a cross brace, that one does not. This one has a cross brace, that one does not. This one does, and then this one does. And this one is not necessarily for stability. This is to keep the chicken wire off my head when I walk in the door. And then here's my door. These are 2 fence boards and some 1x2. And I just took the fence boards and took a piece of 2x4 here, cut that at a 45, put this there, screwed that down, and then screwed the 1x2 into the 2 fence boards, and it just stays together. And then I did put a little roosting bar here. The babies were actually just using it. So that's how I made that. I've given myself stepping stones. Yes, I know I need to clean out my coop. So here I took a 5-gallon bucket, and I took a Dollar Tree appetizer tray, and I drilled big holes, probably 1.5 inch, if not 2 inch holes in the bottom. And then I mounted the appetizer tray with cotter pins. You can use screws, you can use washers, you can use bolts, nuts, whatever you want to use. I used cotter pins because that's what I had. I had a box from Harbor Freight. So that cost me less than $5 to make a 5-gallon feeder. And then I put chicken wire that I had scrapped around it because they like to kick it all out. Similar situation with the waterer. I got those little metal tips, and you can see them down on the bottom. So a couple bucks plus the chain. I had them cut the length of the chain, and I actually ended up having them cut too long. As you can see, I have dangling chain there, and same there. I do actually really like these. They have a harder time freezing, the fount. So let me show you the inside. So here, this is the door, and we made it so we could walk in here comfortably. I mean, who wants to go into a chicken coop to clean it and have to duck and rake at the same time? So make it tall enough for you to walk under. That's the big thing. This is a scrap piece of hardware cloth that happened to be big enough, and it went. So here's the actual hen house. Don't mind the egg on top. They've been eating eggs lately, so I've had to put fake eggs in there so that they can stop. So the siding is $16 siding. It took me 2 sheets, maybe 3, to do the whole thing. I made the nesting boxes out of scrap, and the nesting boxes, I have old tire inner tube to keep the water out, and it's flexible and it moves with it, and I've got some hinges, and so this is all just, so for example, here in the corner I have 2x2. I took some, I guess that's, it doesn't seem like 1 by anything, but I guess it's 1x2, and I screwed some in here to hold it in place. Another 2x2 in the corner. There's actually, sorry about the jerkiness, there's 2x2 here, and then that the under here, the siding that's holding it on is screwed to this board, and then this board is screwed to this, and that's how I've mounted it. And then on the outside I have more 2x2 right there, and again screwed to the 2x2. So the 2x2s, I mean, all you gotta do is cut them. And then for closures, I have one that requires actual fingers to do, so a raccoon can't get in here. I have yet to see a raccoon, but supposedly they're here. And then that. So I did 3 boxes there and 1 box here. This is the same concept. There's a 2x2 where the hinge is sitting. There's a 2x2 on both sides, and then a 2x2 within, and a single one because it's just a single one. And 2x2s in the corner. 2x2s are, I don't know, $2 for an 8-foot board. You can see how easy and cheap you can do this. So the door, back up so you can see this. I did put 1x4 on the edges to kind of give it some trim and some stability and to keep, you know, water out. Hinge there, hook and eye there, hook and eye there. And this is 1x2 just to kind of protect and give it, I don't know, I put it there, I know why, to give it so it wouldn't flex. That's why that's there. So in here, I have a roof. I did put boards across so that I could anchor that to something. And then the holes up there give it more airflow. I have some scrap linoleum for my bathroom project. Hi, Lucy. So this is linoleum. It hoses off great. I just came in here with a hose recently. 2x6s that I had from another project. They're under here. I put hardware cloth so nothing could climb up in here. That is the point of the hardware cloth. As you can see, it did not stay there. And I actually used the staples, like a hammer stapler. Hammer staplers are the best thing ever, as long as you have small areas to work with. So there's hardware cloth here. It's held in place by that board there underneath. This hardware cloth is held in by the 2x6 that's here and the 2x6 that's there. And then at the seams where the siding came together, there's a 1x2 there to keep it from warping. Because we do have snow, I wanted to make sure that this was all nice and solid. And then my roosting bars. So my roosting bars, 2x4 there, 2x4 there, and the same there and there. And I did 2x4 here on the long end, and they never use it. They don't like it. This is 2x3. That's their favorite roosting bar. They seem to do the best with the 2x3 on its side, because they can keep their toes warm in winter. There is a goofy little bracket here, and it has not moved. They don't put that much weight on here. And then here, that one is screwed in from the outside. There's 2 screws on the outside wall holding that in place. And so here's what it looks like with the nesting boxes from the inside. When it's hot, they actually prefer that one because they're able to get fresh air better. So they tend to go for that one in summer, and then in winter they come back to these 2. And then they rarely lay in this one, but Cookie, when I stuck, when she was broody, she was using that one all by itself. So 2x4s, 2x6s. I mean, you don't even have to do a 2x6 floor. I just did that because I had it. It was scrap. It was laying around. So less money. You guys like my shadow fro? Yeah, buddy. Okay. So I did this on a slant because it snows. And I didn't want the snow to fall on my little pathway over here. I wanted it to fall off the edge where I don't care about it. I have a little bit more airflow here, but as you can see, I also put a 2x4 up there to keep critters and predators out. And the base is also 2x6s because I knew it was going to weigh a bit. So this is a 2x6 bottom frame, and then I have 2x4 legs under here, and I put that there to help give me something to put the hardware cloth to. And you can see the outside, the hardware cloth versus the chicken wire. And you can do all of this on a budget. This actually opens up. I never use it, so don't do this unless you're actually going to use it. And when the baby chicks came, they actually were able to squeeze through, so it was a good thing. we had to put a metal plate here to keep the babies from coming out. But this technically flips up and you can rake it. So I did use it last time I raked it out, in April. So we have 9 chickens now. We had 8 before I got the babies. We lost 1 last year and 1 last month. Not really sure what happened, but came home and there she was. So hardware cloth, I know it's pricey. I got a 100-foot roll at, I think, Big R in Fernley. Like, we happened to be going through and we went there and they had the best price. Is it a Big R or Tractor Supply? I'm guessing it was Big R. And so I got 100 feet of 2 foot, and that is what completely surrounds the chicken coop. And then also it works out, you've seen my garden videos, it works out to protect my garden from the wind, because we get some pretty gnarly wind. And it also gives them a little bit of shade. So, and it keeps the critters out. So this garden is completely enclosed. And on 2 sides, it's just done by the pallets and the chickens. So, and then those were given to me. Those are the tarps from Harbor Freight. And then that was given to me. I'm guessing that's just standard cloth that you can buy at one of the big box stores. Before I got into a car accident, I was working for the railroad, and we were going down the tracks one day, and this stuff had flown off a lumber car, and it was protecting lumber or drywall. It could have been either or. And I made my engineer stop, and I jumped out and I grabbed it, and that's what's giving, for the most part, it keeps this area more dry than it would have. But as you can see, based on that slit there, that I have leaks. So, and I can't really get up there now to fix that. But it gives them more shade, it gives them a safe place, it keeps their food mostly dry for the most part, unless it's windy simultaneously. Oh, and then one thing I did not show you. I did use some Simpson Strong ties that I cut. And as you can see, they're not doing a whole lot. So like, for example, this height and this height are different. See how it's at an angle anyways? So like, I came over here and I nailed the 2x4 on that side through, and then I nailed the 2x4 on that side, in theory, through. I don't see any nails though, so maybe I didn't do it on that one. But you can figure out whatever type of bracing you want to use. You can run 2x4 across the tops of these. You don't even have to go this tall if you don't want to. Like I said, we just have owls, we have predators, we have a hawk we've lost 2 hawks to that back power pole, and there's one that's back. So, yeah, that's how you can build one on a budget. So if you can collect some pallets, I paid for these. I think I paid $60 for all of them. I remember paying $60, and I think we got 30 at least. No, more than 30. I don't know. Whatever we got, it was $60. And so $60 plus wood I had laying around, plus nails, hardware. Hardware is usually the most expensive part of a project anyways. So, yeah. We're at about, I think, just shy of 6 feet wide. And you can see this is kind of their favorite corner in summer. And then these are dust bath boxes. Also out of scrap. And then that one became a dust bath box because they figured out how to pull one of those off, and then they just kicked all the dirt out anyways. So now they have a dust bath with some diatomaceous earth and some ash and whatever else from the burn pile. Yeah, they're all back there just chilling, happy as can be. So, I hope this inspires you to build your own. If you have the space for it, give them space. It's not a big deal. I mean, you don't have to give them this much space. I just prefer to because, again, if it was me, I would like to have space. So, yeah. Hope you're inspired. Hope you can get some ideas from this. Oh, by the way, this has survived a microburst. Now with the new houses behind the house, I get microbursts. So, or not microbursts, dust devils. We get a lot of dust devils, and this thing has withheld dust devils. It withheld, I think, 18 inches of snow. This thing is held up, and it's still holding up. I have, like, if I shake this, the only one that's moving is the one that's not a cross member. So you can technically put more cross members if you want. This is solid. It's not going anywhere. And it's all held down by the weight of the wood. So it's not blowing anywhere. It's not having any issues. If I felt like it was having an issue, I'd just run another cross member. So, I mean, build it based on what you think. And if you're making cuts and you're new to cutting, that's a 45-degree angle, and that's a 45-degree angle, which makes a total of 90 degrees. So 45, spin it, 45. It's not as intimidating as you might think, but it is worth it. I mean, I like having my fresh eggs, that's for sure. So thanks for stopping by. Have a good one. I forgot something. Okay, here's the underside. Okay, so again, 2x6 here. This is hooked to the 2x6, so it's very stout. I have 6 2x4s under here, and the extra 2x4 over there, one is holding these 2x6s, and the other one is holding the mesh. And then, if you ever get locked in, run some wire and some fence staples. We put a good old-fashioned gate clasp on here, or latch, and then a nice big sturdy handle. And siding. Oh. Those middle screws are to hold in the dividers. That's what those are for. Okay? Again, thanks for stopping by. And have a good one.